Holy shit, man. Like, damn. Anyways, you're telling me that you're talking about the probabilistic nature of you're talking about the probability that God exists with the concept of understanding if evil exists in the world. So you're talking about God, but you don't want to bring up the Bible, which is God's teachings. That doesn't make any sense. It's like you're trying to explain something without understanding the history of that thing to have two different conversations. Now, if you want to talk about probability, probability in itself is limited by human perception.
Yeah,
And
bro,
this is
bro's
why
actually
even when
dumb.
Coco was talking about it earlier, I asked him, the perception that you actually have of reality is not reality.
I don't think he
Meaning,
understands what
you
probability
as
is.
a single human being are limited in your perception of the understanding of the world as a whole, because that's just your nature as a human being. Now, like I said, we cannot have a conversation referring to God and the probability of God existing because evil exists in the world without bringing up the Bible, because the Bible literally fucking explains it.
Hey,
What are you
bro,
talking about?
can I be the mediator here? I'm gonna be very
Right,
true.
please let me respond.
LeJohn is not tracking at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like
Thank
Not
you,
he
tracking.
Prince. Thank you. Jesus
Thank you.
he's
Christ.
talking about the
Can I?
Bible, but they're clearly talking about this moral standpoint that they're having. They haven't brought up God
I'm not even bringing
once.
up morals.
Yeah, never
I'm
bring
so
no more. We're never not talking about meta ethics.
the
Meta ethics
meta
has to be
ethics.
both.
I'm
Yeah, I
not
use the
delving
wrong
into meta
term.
ethics with Jan
My
if
But
you
if
bad.
can't
we're
track.
if we're talking about the problem of evil, that means like, and you're having a conversation with Christians, that means that you guys are like asking them like based on their worldview. And he's saying that what's in the Bible is a part of his worldview.
Okay, let me, Bill Cherry, can I, okay, please just let me finish my point. I'll be calm, all right? I'm
And
sorry
notice
for,
how I won't interrupt
Okay.
you.
oh
Go
my
ahead.
God, look, Jan, dude. Listen, it's not about, I'm not mad. I'm not interrupting you because you're talking. I'm interrupting you because we've cleared our points, right? We've made specifically the type of argument we're rendering clear to you like 4 times. And then you continue to respond with something completely absent of the point that we're making, right? So what does what does all powerful mean to you? All right. Does it, to me, it means like that an all-powerful being can instantiate any logical state of affairs, right? So if it is logically possible, then God can do it. Is that true, legit?
Yes.
Okay.
And even
And
if it's not logically, even if it's logically impossible, God can still
I'm not
do
gonna
it.
I'm not gonna go into that. Okay, that's an
No,
idiotic
I don't
position,
I
but I'm
don't
not gonna
agree
go into
with
that.
that. I don't agree with that part.
Yeah, I know.
But
That's fine,
continue.
Belcher. He's definitely low tier, so he's not gonna
He's
understand
been
what the
backing
problem is.
himself in the corners this whole
So wait,
time.
wait, wait. So you're telling
Yeah,
me,
I
so wait, wait,
mean,
wait, wait. Okay, so stop. So if it's logically possible, God can do it. If it's logically impossible, God can still do it. So
It's fine. Look,
so
Jan,
no,
that's
no, no.
besides
So
the
real
point.
quick,
Don't
real quick,
drown
real
out the
quick, real quick,
conversation with a
real
bunch of
quick, real quick, real
dumbass
quick.
shit. No, stop. Don't drown out the conversation with like low tier stuff, okay? Again, right? That an all powerful God is gonna be able to instantiate anything, right? Screw it. Screw a threshold. He's gonna be able to instantiate any state of affairs. So is it possible for God to have created the world and not made it so Adam would eat from the tree, so humans would develop evil, so humans would do X, Y, and Z? Could he have made it that way? Could he have made it that way, Lejan? Is it possible?
Yes, he could have.
Okay, thank you. So, irrespective of whatever the hell the Bible says and explains about why there's evil, why there's this, evil still exists, and evil is not something expected if an all-powerful, all-loving God exists. That's all we're saying. It doesn't matter if the Bible says that God said evil is this, evil is his foot, evil is his fucking left toe. It doesn't matter. So long as this thing exists, it's counteracting or it's making less probable the fact that an all-loving, all-powerful God exists. Now, please, before you ask me a dumb question, steelman and regurgitate what I said.
So basically, you're saying because God is all powerful and he's able to actually bring anything into existence, why would he create a world that he would make Adam actually eat from the tree and then evil will actually go into the
Not
world? Is
just
that your entire
all-powerful, it's
point?
all good, Lejan, all
Okay,
good.
so I have an understanding of what you say, and this is why I say you don't fucking read. Like you're having an argument
Okay,
about
never mind.
something you know
This guy's
nothing
actually
about.
Would have cuss each other out to do
You are because
Yo,
right now, okay, so now because I'm tracking now because I regurgitated exactly what your point was, right?
Steelman what I said. That's not what I said. Steelman what I said.
Well, okay, it was pretty close. He just
No, it
didn't
wasn't
understand.
because
He's trying to look for semantics at this point.
no,
You're
it's not
saying
semantics.
if
This is
God isn't
literally
if
just
God
logically, like it's
dude,
derived logically from the
dude,
properties in evil. They're
dude,
analytically opposed. They're
dude,
opposites.
dude. Okay, so your point is if God is all powerful and
And all good. All good.
if God
That's
is
the
all
attribute.
good,
Those are the two attributes. Not all knowing and all powerful. All good and all powerful. Okay, because being good is is analytically opposed with bad. Right.
okay.
Right,
So
Danny?
your statement is if God is all good and all knowing, why
All
would he?
powerful. Oh my God, this guy's like genuinely fucking idiot.
Bro,
All knowing.
you understand what I'm trying to say. You really want to
Okay,
argue
just make
semantics.
it clear to yourself that I'm talking
If
about being
God
all
is all
powerful and
knowing,
all
all
good.
powerful, and all good and omnipresent and everything, and he could do anything,
Legion, you're
why
not
would he,
listening.
bro?
He
I'm not,
literally,
dude, I'm not talking to
Wait,
you, man. I'm not
dude,
talking to
but
you. I'm
guys,
talking to ISO.
this
I'm
is so
talking to
insane.
ISO. I'm
Everybody
talking to
has,
ISO.
everybody has to notice that he's not tracking. ISO literally said, leave out all knowing. And your dumbass decided to say all knowing.
It has nothing to do with the fact that he's all knowing, dude.
Are we really harping on a point of me using a word that literally
Pay
isn't
attention to what he's
even that
saying.
important to the entire point that he's
Pay
trying to
attention to what he's
make?
saying.
That's
We could sit
literally.
here and strawman each other's positions all fucking day. I could say like God sacrificed himself to himself. No, argue against the actual position.
That actually brings up a really good point because you can't separate the properties of God. Him being all-knowing is definitely age group.
He is risen. You're not tracking. You're not tracking.
Yo, bro.
Your
So the thing
argument
about it,
all
is he is risen. When you're not saying exactly what they want you to say, you're not tracking.
I mean,
Because
not even that.
realistically,
Like
because
this,
Shit, if you're not
realistically,
responding to the argument, you're
because
not responding to the
realistically,
argument. Who would have thunk it? What the fuck? Like,
dude,
are you
relax,
I told you about yelling,
Thank
man.
you.
What
Holy
are you
shit,
doing?
man.
Like you're
Can I?
spazzing right now.
He's risen. Can I just? So basically, the entire concept that they're saying is, if he's so powerful, knows everything, so good, why would he create a situation that in the Garden of Eden, they eat the fruit, and then evil not exist in the
Are
world?
you serious?
My dude,
serious.
someone is critiquing your worldview, and they say I'm making the argument that I want to hyper focus on God being all good and all powerful. That's the
you
argument that
can't separate
he's talking
his
about.
nature.
Shut up. You're bringing in something that he's not trying to focus on to argue against. You want to argue against something that isn't his position because you're saying that it's a necessary entailment of your God. Okay, we grant that God is all we grant that God is all knowing, but we want to focus in on all powerful and all good.
That.
We understand that he's all knowing.
You
We want
can't
to focus
separate
in
the
on the
nature.
all good part, right? We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck about like
Bro, I'm pretty sure everybody on the panel. I'm pretty sure everybody on the panel recognizes that we're talking about omnipresence, all good, all knowing,
You can't separate.
all good, all knowing, all everything.
Can
The
I
God,
didn't mean
man.
to. Okay. For the
Can we
sake
get a
of the
moderator?
for the sake of the
stop cursing.
conversation,
That's the
if they're
last time.
asking you not to use all knowing, I think that's the one. I'm sorry, I'm like half paying attention. If they're asking you not to use all knowing, can you just not use it so that they understand that like you're engaging with what they're saying to you?
They know I'm engaging with what I'm saying
my
to them
gosh,
because
let's
they're
just
just trying to
besides the
be
point anymore. It's
disingenuous.
besides the
But
point.
sure, I'll stop using all knowing.
Okay,
Anywho's,
Lejan, look, listen.
if you have,
I'm gonna
oh
make
my
it. I'm gonna
God,
try to make an intuition
dude,
pump for
can
you.
we get
As to what we're
can we get a
saying.
moderator? Can we get a moderator? Every
Yo,
single time
you're
I
not
start
even. You
talking,
didn't
every
steal my
single time I
last
start
I'm trying to
talking,
make
he
an intuition pump.
interrupts
I'm
me.
not yelling at you, dude.
Are you
Every single time I
trolling?
start talking, he starts cutting
You
me
might
off.
be trolling.
Legion. I will happily formally debate you on this. Legion.
all right.
Okay,
Yo,
so
go.
we have an all-powerful, all-good God that exists. Why
Lejan,
would
look, Lejan, listen to what I'm saying. I'm just gonna give you an intuition pump as to what we're trying to say, right? Let's say we observe two properties of a being, right? Let's just give it all the properties. He's all loving, all good.
you wait for me to
omnipotent,
start
whatever.
talking for you to
Hold
start
on,
talking
Lejan,
again?
let's just let me because you're not understanding our principle. Oh
Can
my
I
God, this
finish?
guy's
Can I
actually
finish my
fucking
sentence?
tough,
Then you could rebuttal what I'm saying. Let me
You're not
finish.
saying what
You have self-control, dude. You're a grown man. Come on,
Okay,
let's not act like children here.
Well, I mean, like you have the IQ of a child.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going back to insults. Cool, bro. I don't really care.
You can't track.
Anywho's, so if we have an all good God, why would he create a situation that Adam and Eve would eat from the fruit of the tree and then evil would exist in the world? Is that your position or not?
No,
that's
nigga.
fine. No, that's not what we're
Position.
saying. Hold on.
Oh my
Hold on,
God.
Lejan, that's not what we're saying. Lejan,
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, is
Okay,
just not
hold on,
understanding the
Lejan.
conversation.
Let me make an intuition pump for you. Maybe you can finally understand. Look, let's just imagine this in addition, right? Okay, let's just imagine this in addition, right? Because I don't know. I don't think you're not gonna understand a syllogism. So let's say all good, all powerful, right? Those two attributes plus those two attributes, right? When looking at what those things would look like if a god like that existed, right? Would it be more likely that an all loving, all good God, right, would have a world or make a world in which evil exists, or make a world in which evil does not exist? What's more likely, Lejan?
He will create a world that evil doesn't exist.
Okay, that's more likely, right, Lejan? Just basically off the definitions of the words alone, it's less probable, right?
Yes, it's less probable.
Okay, that's all we're saying. That's literally all we're saying. Do you understand now? Does that make sense to you now, my
That
boy?
makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay,
Testing
thank
your
you. That's
logic.
all
Okay,
that
so
needs
that
to be
makes
said.
sense, right? That makes sense, right? Okay, now, what was the original sin? Because you're asking a question of would it be more probable that an all-loving God creates a world that evil exists? And then I ask you the question, according to the Bible, how did evil come into the world? You can't answer my question because
Okay,
you're
Lejan.
asking me.
Let's
Oh, stop,
Lejan.
stop,
I'll answer
stop,
the
stop,
question. I'll
stop,
answer the
stop.
Like
Dude,
question
I
dude, dude.
and
think
I
they're
give
let you
you a
trying.
finish.
reason as to
I
why
I
think
it
they're
let
doesn't
you
trying to
matter.
finish. I
ask.
let you finish.
I think they're trying to ask like, is it possible for a universe or a world to exist where it's like evil isn't even possible? Like you can't even like regardless
No,
of
it
like
is not. No, it is not. And
I
this is the
agree.
reason. This is the
I
reason
agree.
why it is not.
I wasn't saying that. I was
No,
not saying that. I was
This is,
obviously. It can be. Yeah. So listen, like
bro,
it can be
bro,
the case
bro,
that
bro,
there's
bro.
like
I
maybe
wasn't
Wait,
some
done,
let
man.
possible
I
world
wasn't done,
in
dude.
which evil
I
exists and
wasn't
never
Wait,
done.
how do
existed.
you
But
pronounce your name? How do you
mine,
pronounce your name?
ISO.
No, Lejean.
It's LeJon James.
Lejean. Yeah,
It's a play on
let
LeBron
him
James.
explain what he means. Like you can't attack what he's saying if you
But I
don't.
haven't even finished my point because I keep getting cut off.
No, I just want to explain to you why the thing you're saying is nothing. Like you're not rebutting what I'm saying at all, right? Okay, so look, we're talking about the possibilities that God has when instantiating reality, right? So,
Hmm.
irrespective, this comes before the Bible's ever written, before this God ever rationalizes the Bible, ever decides he's going to send Jesus to die on our sins, before he even creates Adam and Eve. He is all knowing. He knows exactly the next state of affairs. He knows exactly what's going to happen when he instantiates reality, right? So what we're saying is that even prior to the Bible, prior to there being evil at all, prior to anything, right? It is logically possible, purely off the basis of the definition of the words, that God can make the world in a way in which evil as a concept is possible and yet does not instantiate, right? And you agree to this because analytically you define all powerful as being able to do anything, right? So this is possible, right? And so given that it is a possibility and given the definition of the words, it's less probable off the onset that there would be sin, that there would be evil, that there would be any possibility of this thing instantiating. That's what we're saying. So it does not matter what the Bible says. It's before the Bible. It's literally a critique of the entirety of the worldview, of the all aspects of Christianity. That's what we're targeting. Prior to the Bible even being conceptualized.
Okay, so in the creation of the world, what is the one variable that exists?
I don't know, dude. It doesn't matter. You do not
Yes, it
understand?
does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why I know you don't know what you're talking about. Now, the
Damn.
one
Yeah, please don't be
variable,
rhetorical.
the
You're
one
actually an idiot.
variable,
Yeah.
the one variable. I mean, dude, you've been slandering me, you've been insulting me all day, calling me low
Yeah, no,
tier and low
listen,
IQ. So don't get
Jen, have
offended
you
when
ever
I'm
played
throwing it
chess?
back at you.
Have you ever tried playing
Anywho's,
chess with like a dog?
I'm
That's
not
what it feels like doing that.
anywho's. The one variable that exists in the creation of the world was the choice of man. Yes, he knows what's in your heart. He knows what tempts you, but he gave man free will. That is the entire point. And it's in that free will from the temptation of the snake that man, Adam and Eve, now ate the apple that created evil within the world because it gave them a knowledge of all things good and evil. Now, Now,
Okay, Lejan, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful point you brought up, right? Free will. Okay,
bro,
that's beautiful, right? Now again, I'm gonna ask you, based off your definition of all
bro.
powerful.
Can
No,
I
no, no, no,
finish
no.
my
Listen,
point?
you're
Can
not
I finish
responding
my
to the
point?
point. You actually don't
Can I
understand what
finish
I'm
my
saying.
point?
No,
Can I
your point
finish?
is
Are we gonna get
irrespective of. It's
moderators? Are we
non-tangential
gonna
to
get
what I said.
moderators? Because
You're
like,
literally just proselytizing at this point. Lejan, again,
ISO.
track. Okay, if it is
Why am I
logically,
being the one
oh
muted?
my God.
Why am I being the one muted when he's interrupting me in the middle of a
You need to
sentence?
track. You're not responding to my point. You're talking about apples and we're talking about oranges. Lejan, look, if it is the case that it is possible for God to create a thing such as free will and eliminate the possibility of evil, do you think that's possible for God to do? Do you think that's possible for God to do?
Limit the possibility of evil?
Yes. He could have
No.
made us in such a way in which we don't do as many evil acts as we do. He could have done as many evil acts as we do. You can even say that there's a threshold that he can't cross, right? Because I tried to lend you a hand and give you a threshold, right? He can only do logically possible things. Right? He can only do logically possible things. Belsheri, she can answer no to this question. She can answer no to this question because she actually has a good definition of all powerful. You don't. You would have to, and both limited all possibilities of evil, right? Because your definition of omnipotent is completely irrational.
That actually ruins the point. That ruins the point of the existence of man. That ruins the point in the creation of
Bro,
man.
can we just drop
And
him, bro? He didn't
so
even
that
try.
ruins the
ruins
wait.
the
So
point.
Yeah,
stop.
let's
What matters is that it's
drop, bro.
possible, given your view,
Oh
and it's
my
less likely
God,
for this
man.
actualization.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Oh my God. Can I finish my
Believers.
sentence?
I don't want to be mean to believers.
Chris is
I
Chris
don't
is a
know if we want
believer.
to continue
And he said to
talking
drop him.
to Lejan. Sorry.
Hey, Bell, please, if we're going to engage in an actual intellectual conversation, can you at least mute him when he's interrupting me? Because this is not cool. I'm giving him the floor when he's speaking.
But
And when I'm bringing my points up, I
to
keep
be
constantly
fair,
getting interrupted.
I think he's right. Like, I don't think that God can do everything that's
Facts.
illogically possible. Like, I don't include that in him being all powerful.
So you don't think God could do things that are logically impossible?
Yeah, no, like I don't think that. Like, for example, if God is all good, do you think that he can do evil morally?
Is it logically possible to create light out of your words?
How would you
That
answer
was a yes or no question.
I don't think you're
Oh,
understanding.
Jan, maybe
Yeah,
okay.
that
Maybe you
was
don't
a yes or no
understand what.
question, Bell
Oh
asked.
my God,
He's not
man.
understanding.
Yo, seriously.
No, I don't think you
Okay,
understand what
I think this is
logical.
this is you don't want to have like an actual genuine.
Can you just
No,
answer
I'm
No,
yes or
I
trying
no
to
to
be
don't.
Bell's
nice here
question?
now.
You
Trying to be
don't want
nice
to have
here.
a genuine conversation
I
because
just
like
think
No, I'll explain to
what
you
are
what
we
we mean
doing?
by logical
What are we
possibility,
doing?
Lejan.
I was
Lejan,
just
look,
speaking.
Wait, hold on. Have you, Lejan, have you ever heard when they ask you, can God create a rock so heavy or so powerful that he can't lift it? Do you think that that's like a logical question?
No, that's not a logical question because he could do anything.
Oh
So
man.
you
He
think
could
that
even do things that aren't logical.
he can create a rock so big that he can't lift it?
That would be impossible because even if he created a rock
Right.
per se quotation
what we're
that's
saying.
so big that he can't lift it, he probably still could lift it.
That's what
That's
I'm
the
saying.
entire
Like, he
point.
cannot do things that are illogically impossible. That's the point that they're making.
Yeah, brother.
Okay,
When you
so
say
can
that our
I, oh
God
my
can
God,
do,
can I, okay, so you're saying illogically impossible. How did he create light?
Logically impossible.
hold on.
How is that
Bell, this
Lejan,
is
incontrovertible?
hold on,
boring,
Wait, I
Lejan.
don't
bro.
know.
Look, let
Drop
me
bro for a
explain to him what
mod.
logical
Bro, just
modality is
answer my,
because
okay, so
obviously he doesn't understand.
stop,
Let
ISO,
ISO
stop,
go
rhetorical
before he
ISO,
battle
Obviously he
stop,
doesn't
dodging right now.
understand.
ISO, stop. Yo,
Obviously he doesn't understand. It's okay. I'll explain it to him. It's fine. Okay,
Yo,
Lejan, look.
real quick.
Lejan,
No,
oh
we
my
let
God. Let
you
me just.
go. Let ISO go before he
Yo,
crashes out.
are you dead?
Yeah,
We're gonna
like
let
just let
him
him go
go, but
before he
he's gonna
crashes out.
interrupt me.
Bro,
Lejan, I'm just trying to explain to you what logical possibility means and what we're meaning by that. We're not saying that like let's say me turning into a bird, that's logically possible because logical possibility has nothing to do with nomological possibility, which is talking about how things work within physics, right? Like a pig can't fly because he doesn't have wings. That's something that's not possible physically, right? Logical possibility just means that from the proposition or from the property, there's no contradiction entailed, right? So something
Yeah.
like a square circle, right? That's logically impossible because what it means to be a triangle, I mean, to be a circle is to be a circle, right? What it means to be a square is to be a shape with 4 sides. You can't be both a circle and a square. That's logically impossible, right? A P and a not P, right? So it can't be true that the tree exists and does not exist. That's logically impossible. That's a contradiction. That's all we're talking about. So when we say that God can't do logically impossible things, we're saying he can't do things such as making a square triangle or making a square circle or making a rock that's so heavy that he can't lift it because that would be logically impossible. Things of that nature. That's the way most theists, when you talk about theologians, philosophers that are Christians, they don't think God can instantiate logical impossibilities because they think it goes against his nature.
Yes. And Lejan, I'm sorry if I keep like saying this wrong, Lejan. Like you kind of conceded. You agreed that like there's no way God would be able to create a rock that he can't lift. Because you said that he would be able to lift it. So you kind of concede with us.
Dun dun dun. Literally, like anyone on this panel can host it. I will happily debate Lejan in a formal debate.
Coco, you should host it.
Rhetorically backshotted by Lejan.
It's all good, Coco. I don't think it's not worth it.
But legit, all I was gonna say, bro, is like as a Christian myself as well, like when you say that God can do things that are logically contradictory, you then make our God contradictory, which then doesn't motivate anybody to even have belief in him, right? So
yeah, it's completely. It's like there's a saying, Lejan, within logic, right? Like from a contradiction, anything follows. So if your position has a contradiction, it's literally you're talking about nothing, right? It could be the case that God exists and does not exist. It could be the case that God is all powerful and all good and yet not powerful and all evil. There's nothing that isn't possible. And so you have a completely like sort of absurd view, basically, right? It's like complete absurdism.
All right. So, well, I think I might drop. I just maybe I think Just Jim and others have done a pretty good job about the whole. Maybe the problem of evil is an appeal to emotion. I think now that I think everybody have like has talked about what the problem evil aims to do. Do you still think it's an appeal to emotion? Maybe that's the question I'm just kind of curious about. Since Just Jim, ISO, and maybe Coco have illustrated what problem evil is trying to do, do you think the atheist is just going to appeal into some kind of emotion? I mean, I guess you can, obviously. I can see what you mean by that.
I mean, I think when I watch debates on this on actual like PhD level, they don't. Because the thing is, like, look, on these lives, most people are trying to be rhetorical. They're trying to win the debate, so they're gonna be they're gonna be bad faith on purpose. When you levy such a thing as evil, they're gonna be like, well, what do you mean by evil? Where do you grant evil? Where's evil in your worldview, right? But most times, like with the EPE, it's run in principle, right? So it's just obviously both to the theist and the atheist, regardless if the atheist is saying his morality is subjective, in principle, killing someone is wrong, right? They both agree that it's wrong. That's all that matters, really, when running an evidentiary problem evil. If we can both agree that some suffering is unnecessary, right? Some suffering is bad, right? Then we can conclude that unnecessary suffering, right, is a bad thing in both views and in Christianity. So whenever talking about the EP, you can say, well, if unnecessary suffering exists, it's less probable that if a good all-loving God existed, that unnecessary suffering would exist. That's not going to work on TikTok lives because they're going to ask you like a bunch of unnecessary stuff that really doesn't matter, right? When you look at like applied ethics, when in debates, like in applied ethics, they don't drown out in meta ethics because no one really cares. It's if you're talking about applied ethics, right, and you're talking about what is wrong and why is it wrong, right? That's applied. If you're talking about the nature of these propositions, the nature of what good and bad is, right? What is it? What's making it true? That's meta ethics. And on lives, they merge the two because.
You forgot the normative.
Theists think they have like some like high ground because they're objectivists, right?
No, I think you forgot the other branch, the normative branch. But
no, but I'm saying I'm just applied normative. They're all the same.
But I think that the capacity for evil is necessary. Like I don't think that it's possible to be in a universe where evil.
Oh yeah, yes you can, because in a world where God exists alone.
With agent beings. Unless you're So Bobby, ask about what were you saying about if only God existed?
Yeah, I'm assuming you consider God to be an agent. Because I'm assuming you consider God to be an agent. I mean, well, let me ask that because some
Mm-hmm.
you do.
Yeah.
And
Why is he calling me disingenuous? I was the nicest one to you.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you were to
Jan is mad at me, but I was nice to him.
Lejan is slow. Let's be completely honest.
Oh my
cold
god.
nasty work.
I think he's
Um,
mad because he got kicked.
Let's be completely honest. Does anyone here think Lejan is
I
actually
didn't kick him.
Yeah, it
Don't
was
tell me who
me. I
kicked him.
switched him for Mark because he wasn't adding to the conversation. He was literally making people leave. Like it just wasn't good for the live.
Okay. I was nice to him. So I don't like that you're saying that. But anyway, Bobby, what were you saying, Bobby?
yeah. I forgot where you're at because I was walking my dogs doing this. You said evil can exist if agents don't have the capacity to do evil, right? Something like that. I don't want to steal. I don't want to strawman what you said. Is that
Like in our universe, in the universe that we're in, I don't think it's possible for like harm not to exist.
let me ask it a different. Let me ask it a different way. I guess what I'm asking. Are you saying? Maybe just. Are you? I guess what I'm asking. Do you think it is possible, for agents to exist without evil?
Yeah, if they were good. Like, are you talking about moral evil, or are you talking about naturalistic evil?
Even because honestly, we could say both. Do you think a state of affairs can be where agents exist without more like some kind of moral or natural evil? Do you think a state of affairs is like at least possible in some like logical sense at least?
I don't think that within our universe, like our reality, that it's possible for no natural like evil to exist. Like I don't think that's possible.
No, I understand. Like, I understand what you're referring to this current state of affairs. I'm just saying, in general, though, you don't think it's like impossible, right? Such state of like, if God, you think God could like instantiate that kind of state of affairs if He wants to, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know how.
Yeah, no, I don't know how. Can you give me an example of how?
I would imagine
how can you be agent, and how can the physical law? So you're asking me to imagine like a universe that doesn't have the physical laws that we have?
To me, God being able to instantiate any state of affairs doesn't really matter because God was able to sustain life. Maybe I don't know if you consider God to be alive or not, but God was able to sustain life. Also, at least sustain consciousness and minds without like some biological needs, right? He could instantiate literally any state of affairs he wants to, what he wants. So I imagine like an agent that won't be capable of doing evil will have like some similar property to God Himself, where God has ability to like do things, but like his properties, it's like action guiding, in which
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm telling you, like you're asking me to imagine a different reality. Like we literally would not be able to be agent, and if we were agent, that means we wouldn't be able to like have arms. We probably wouldn't even be able to have smecks. Like there's several things that we would not be able to do. Like for an example, like do you think if me picking up a rock or an agent being picking up a rock and bashing someone over the head with it, like them getting like what do you think causes that person to get hurt? Like,
I don't know if I define agents that way.
Play a part in that?
Yeah, and I just think like I think God is an agent, and I don't think God has arms. So I don't know if I define agent.
God isn't the one that's committing the evil.
What?
Yeah.
No, I mean, Bell. I think he's just saying he means agent. It just means anything capable of like reasoning, right? So like, it's very possible for God to make a rock an agent, right? He can just snap his fingers and the rock will have agency. And by agency, we just mean capable of having thoughts, reasoning, inferences, right? The same way.
Right.
Yeah, the same way God, you wouldn't want to say God doesn't have agency, right? Because God can think, He can rationalize, He can do stuff.
Right.
So he's just saying that if it's logically, it's like possible, like given that God can do anything, or do anything logically possible, it's logically possible that He could have instantiated a world in which maybe we didn't have maybe we didn't have like a sexual drive, right? Because God isn't like that. He thinks that's immoral. So it's possible for God to have limited that evil. He could have just made it less so, right?
I like that you brought up the rock thing, because literally that would probably be like one of the very few examples. Like we would have to literally be able not to make any like causal moves, like Do you know what I
Yeah, but you
mean?
can still think. It's just thinking. That's all.
Mhm.
So is that what you guys would want? Like you wanted God to create us so that we can't do anything at all?
No,
No, I don't think that's what's being said.
that's
Like,
not what we're saying. We're just saying that, like, basically all we're saying is, like, if God can do anything and God's all good, right?
Mhm.
Then it's more likely that he would have limited all the evil than created the world. It seems, and Bill and he was risen, it seems to me that when you look at the evil and the good, it's like a 50-50 split, right? There's like there's both good in the world. Like you have happy moments, you have sad moments. Life's full of suffering, and so it feels indifferent. It
Yeah, I
feels as
think
if
good is
though
definitely triumphant over evil, even in the world today. Like, there's a lot
I
more
think it
good
depends on where you're at
than
in the world,
evil.
you know.
Like just look at your day. Like in the 24 hours in your day, do you think most of it is filled with evil, or do you think that it's filled
No,
with
no, no. I'm
good?
not.
I think that's based on your
Listen, I'm not saying
geography.
that. I'm saying like in its totality, right? Because me
Like,
because me obviously I feel like I experience more good than I do evil. I live in the States. I have like a very privileged life. I'm very happy, right? But when I look at like in every human and every agent in its totality, all things that experience suffering, it feels to me as though it's pretty indifferent. The world's indifferent to people. There's people. I sit here and I'm on my phone debating this while there's probably someone starving or dying or being like tortured somewhere, right? It seems indifferent. It seems like there isn't such a thing as like this arbiter trying to make everything good as opposed to just there not being one, right? It's just completely indifferent. People suffer for no reason. People sometimes have good things happen to them for no reason. Sometimes they do happen for a reason, right?
yeah, the problem with that is just we don't know what the
Mhm.
reason is behind the things. The ultimate reality, his ultimate destination, is that all believe on the Son, so they can all be reconciled back to Him in the second life. So this life here is really just a proving grounds for your soul anyway.
But
Like, this
then,
isn't the totality. This isn't the totality of the reality of which we are living in, right? This is a finite, very mortal sense of our reality. And if you do believe that, there is a second life or a chance to have eternal life, then all this is just a small stop on that.
or isn't there still issues with skeptical theism, right? If you're just saying, if you're trying to say, tell us like, hey, maybe that's some bigger, greater reason, for why
Right.
God allows for these sins. I'm not too sure what evil means in this view, right?
Yeah, like
And
if
any
you
Evil is
find
still that which goes in against God and is disobedient to what
wait,
God has prescribed,
but if you're
for
saying
the
risen, if
life
like
that we live to be good.
I think what Bobby's trying to say is like, look, if you define evil this way, like absent, like the absence of God, right? But you're also saying that when evil does happen, there's a reason for it. Like God has like a pro-toto, like all things considered viewpoint of all the things that are like coming into this evil, and ultimately there's a good in it, right?
Well, there's a trajectory that God can set for good. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But ultimately, all evils and like are tend or like their telos is towards good, right?
Not the nature of it, not the instantiation of the evil. No, but God takes what. See, the Bible says what man meant for evil, God meant for good. So through the mechanism of what man is trying to do, God can bring about His ultimate plan, His compatibilism.
If anything, though, I feel like that would make the atheist view look stronger, because if God's doing it for a good reason, then if you
No,
think
you're
of
missing it again. God isn't doing it. God is changing the trajectory of that thing. It's like saying, okay, a surgeon who is operating with a scalpel has to pierce the skin, right? But someone else with that scalpel, that same scalpel, would go in and could unalive that person. So now, do we say that all incisions are evil? It's just to say that the
No, but
tool at
I
which
mean,
you're using,
Mhm.
right? God is using it for good while man is using it for evil. But that doesn't mean that people aren't still unaliving when people go and use this tool for evil.
he is risen. Did
Yeah.
man? Did God make both the tool and the man?
Yes.
Okay, so
I
Yeah.
mean,
So let me ask you this: are pew pews evil?
not inherently.
not inherently,
Okay.
no.
Well, then that answers your question.
But we didn't
It's
make
it's how
the
we use the tool,
yeah. But God made us
but the
inherently.
tool itself isn't evil.
Yeah, of
Right.
course, right. But you would say we're inherent. So he's risen. Like Christians, I don't know. Maybe you're not like, but you would say we're inherently evil.
I say we have a proclivity to do evil, but we also have a, a sense to do good as well.
Yeah, of course, right? But I'm saying that like we have the capacity for evil, right? Like inherently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And then
could
all,
God
Just like a pew pew. It has
yeah, and God could just remove that.
capacity to do evil.
God's responsible for what we have the capacity to do, right? Since He created us.
Well, you're missing it again. Going right back to the pew pew analogy, the manufacturer has designed that weapon to be able to do something.
Reason
Now,
it-
what you use that weapon for, whether it's to protect your family, whether it's to keep yourself from being unalived and a jacking, right, or even in the military to keep from the invasion of foreign people into our land, versus somebody who just goes up and is trying to deprive someone of their goods. Right, that's not the gun manufacturer's fault for
Reason-
how that person
Yeah,
is
no,
using.
I understand. I'm always dubious on these type of analogies, right? Because in this analogy, the gun manufacturer, right? Is he omniscient?
I mean, it's kind of just like a category error.
Do you not think that the gun manufacturer knows that their product is going to be used for evil?
No, the gun manufacturer will know something.
Okay,
right?
so
But no,
let's
hold on.
throw
He is
that out.
risen. Hold on. The gun manufacturer in this is disanalogous to God because yes, he will know some things, but he will not know everything. Yes, he's able to do some things, but he cannot do everything. And yes, he's able to do bad things, and that's not something God's able to do. So it's not analogous, right? Like in this, it's more analogous to say if an all-loving, all-powerful all-powerful gun manufacturer existed, right? Would he create a tool that is capable of doing evil?
Yeah, so maybe I'm confused, but let me say this, right? So like an equivalent analogy would be like you have a gun shop. Somebody comes in to buy a gun, and you have all these like different abilities as like a human, which I know that's like crazy, but you know the future. You know that if you give the gun to this person, they're going to go like pop a school and like unalive a bunch of kids, right? And essentially what God does in this situation is like he has foreknowledge and he has plenty of other options because he's all powerful, and yet he still chooses to like hand over the pew pew to the person that's going to unalive a whole like school of kids. And the question is like, was that necessary?
I think that's the thing in which you're admitting God's omniscience, but then you're negating his omniscience at the same time. If he knows that this is going to accomplish the greater good, again, this reality is just a pit stop. Okay? And he knows that even if he allows this person to go about what it's going to do, if it is going to bring about a greater good, then what is wrong? What is the negation? What's the problem with God allowing that to happen?
Is it necessary for the greater good? There are plenty of other things God could have done to achieve that greater good. Specify on like what you mean by like
trying to do. Like picture okay. You understand that the brain processes like millions of signals per second, right? And then filters it through, and you only get what is pertinent to your goal. You're in like you can be in the airport hearing thousands of conversations, but you're going to hear your name out of all of that. Okay, so if you picture that there's millions of trillions and billions of calculations going on right now, and all the probabilities and possibilities that can happen, and God is allowing to filter through the ones that accomplish the greater good, of which you don't know because you're not omniscient, then you really cannot judge the outcome. All you can do is say that God knows the outcome, and God is doing this for the greater good, even the things that man choose for you.
The way I'm understanding the question is the capacity for humans to do evil, right? Because I don't believe agents need that capacity to do evil, right? But I'm saying is the capacity to do evil, is that needed for some greater prototype good, that God wants potential to be achieved.
It's the sense that the same capability to do evil, right?
No. Is it necessary? Is what I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying. That same power to do evil is the same power to do good, and the same power to choose. Right?
So
It's
that
all
at that
the same
point,
thing. It all derives from the power to choose.
if that evil is necessary, that capacity to do evil is necessary, for this greatest outcome of good. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if that evil is even evil at that point.
It doesn't seem like to be evil is to be tended towards good, right? So I mean, unless you're defining it that way, that's fine. I'm also curious as to, do you think that in order to have free will or the ability to choose, you must be able to do evil?
Yes.
Does
The way that
God?
we are, the
I
way
mean,
that we are
hold
now. Like I like the fact that you
on.
brought up the whole rock thing. Like if a rock had like awareness or consciousness or the ability to or agency, the ability to choose, like would it be able to like do evil? No. But the way that we've like evolved as human beings, I don't think it's possible not to
Yeah,
be
but
able
you, in your view, but Bill Trey, the issue, man, is like everything having to do with what we're capable of, what we're able to do, what we
to.
may or may not do, is levied or is made true or made possible in virtue of God creating us. Right? God created us with the capacity to do these things. God created us with the capacity to act. Right. So, and also like He is risen. When you said there that like free will, in order to have free will, you must be able to do bad. Right? Do you think God?
And free choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you think God has free choice?
No. Why would
He
God have free
doesn't.
Yeah.
choice? God is
Damn.
only going to do God is only going to do what is in His nature to do, which is the most
Yeah,
perfect
awesome.
thing
That's
to
what we're
do,
saying.
and it will
Then
always
are you
be that one
necessitarian? Wait,
perfect
are you
thing.
necessitarianist?
You can call it that. I mean,
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's
yeah, God,
interesting.
like God has like
Oh,
okay, picture there being a perfect a level of perfection, right? Do you think that there's a level higher than that level of perfection that can be attained?
no. I mean,
Yeah.
it's,
Okay, so there, and do you think
That's
that
good.
so if there's not a level higher than which is perfect, then God can only do that which is perfect, and He can't do anything that contradicts with that perfect.
no, I
Yeah.
get
I
that. I
like
get that.
that.
Like, I
He
understand. Because, like, most times, either it's like necessitarianism or maybe God has like some brute preferences. He has like some choice somehow.
No,
But
I
like,
really feel like this evil that we see in the world is is part of this plan that God has used. But again, if we just keep the frame of the Christian mindset is that these things are temporary, okay? There is an eternality to all of the decisions that we have that we're making. Once we get
I
that in
think
the
what's
proper
been no, I think
frame, then we can understand because and last thing I'll say is when Satan had access directly to God in the eternal realm and choose to rebel and choose to and chose to be disobedient and let pride blind him, and that way he was casted out as it says in Revelation, then the whole proving ground that we are in right now, this is our submission to get the ticket to go to heaven. This is us saying I want to be in that room where there is no evil, where there is no sadness, no death, no crying, no I want to be in that realm. Satan didn't want to be in that realm. He's like, "Look, I can make my own stuff better than what this is." Now
mm,
instead of just granting everybody access to that, which is what you're asking, you're like, "I want God to create a world where there's no evil." He has created that. It's called heaven. But to get to that place, you have to submit to it. And what you're saying is, I don't believe in God, or
he's risen. I have a
the
question though.
probability or the possibility of just one second, the possibility of God being true just because this isn't heaven right now is less because I'm not already there. I haven't submitted my will, but you won't submit your will to get to heaven. It's a performative
Yeah,
contradiction.
he is risen. But do you think God wants the best for all his people, all the people he's made?
Absolutely. His will,
Yeah.
the Father's will is that
So
all believe on the Son. That's
okay,
what
so
Corinthians
but
speaks.
so could it in okay, so do you
mm.
think it's necessary for humans to have lived this life to then get to heaven, or would it not have been much more simple to simply just make us in heaven?
Yeah, I just gave
Oh
you that,
God.
right? So I just gave you that, which Satan was in heaven, and a third of the angels were convinced of
well,
Satan's
I don't think you understand
agenda.
the Isaac's
So,
question.
so
No, I'm not. I'm not.
therefore,
That's not what I meant. That's not what I'm asking.
well,
I'm
then
not like.
I'm giving you the root, so you can understand when I get to the fulfillment of the question. You have to understand the root of
No,
this
no,
is
no.
based on a
No, just
sequence of events that already happened in heaven.
wait. I
Satan
think
was in
let's.
heaven and didn't want to be there. Okay, so now you have this proving ground to say, look, if you want to be in heaven, do these things. Submit your will to God. Prove that you are in allegiance to God, and you will be able to get to heaven. Do you understand?
Yeah, and I'm saying that. Yeah, I don't really think that like answers anything though. Just like because
All right, let's try
Satan.
again.
Yeah.
I think
So
maybe
again,
I
like,
should stipulate this too, maybe because I think he wants to reason is saying, hey, these agents have like some kind of well free will, and that allows them to be able to like do because I guess in heaven you can't sin, but so you is it possible? So if I'm in heaven right now, risen, like if I go to heaven, is it possible for me to like sin? Am I
No,
capable of sin in heaven? Hmm?
no.
Yeah, then I'm not even too sure. Because then at that point, I ask this question does stand. if it's impossible for me to sin in heaven, God could just create that state of affairs right out the get go.
Yeah, I don't
Right,
really
but then
see
not
that.
everybody would submit to that.
Wait,
So we
Why?
can see that
you already
Satan
stipulated.
didn't.
Wait, we already
Right,
stipulated
Satan did not submit
wait,
to that.
he is risen. And
Therefore,
is
he
there
was
free
cast out
will?
of heaven.
He is risen. Is there free will in heaven?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is. Right, but is
We
it
asked
possible?
you.
We just asked you if it's possible. Okay, just to be clear here. You said earlier, I asked you, is it necessary? Do you have to have the capability of doing wrong in order to have free will? And you said yes, right? And then you said that God didn't have free will. And then we asked you, hey, are you capable of doing wrong in heaven? And you said no. And then I asked you, do we have free will in heaven? And you said yes. Do you understand how those are contradictory?
This is the proving ground that you have the agency to prove your. So think
Why
about
is
like
it
this.
necessary? That's the thing with the question.
After this,
Risen, I
after
want
this
you
trial,
to listen to the critique.
no, listen to what I'm saying
I don't
because you
think you
don't
understand the
understand the
critique,
worldview.
though.
I fully understand your
Bobby
critique.
thinks
You're
nobody
saying how?
understands anything.
No, I get what he's. I know, right?
It's a lot, Lord.
I totally understand what he's saying, and this is fair. The thing is, this is our proving ground right now. Think about this as we're going to turn in our test scores at the end of this life, right? And based on those test scores, we have already submitted and implanted in permanence our submission and our allegiance to God, who's going to build a new heaven and a new earth. And on this new heaven and new earth, there will not be no sin. There will not be any of that because you have already, what is the word? Consented to this new heaven and this new earth. Okay. With Satan was built and he didn't consent to where he was. He didn't like it. Okay. Now we get to choose to say, look, we want to be there. And if you say, I don't want to be there, God will grant that wish as well.
But okay, he's risen. I
Oh,
don't
that's
think you.
interesting.
I
I
don't
never
think
thought of
you.
it that way.
I don't think you really answered the question I was asking you. You said we have free will in heaven and yet we can't choose evil. And then earlier you said that we can't have free will and not have the capacity to do evil, right? So
Because of consent. Like, okay, so
So,
I'm giving up my ability. I'm giving up my
free will.
my free will to enter into heaven to a place where there is no sin.
you
I'm
don't have
consenting
you
to
have
that.
free will in
So
heaven.
you wouldn't have free will in heaven.
You don't
That
have free
is
will.
the free will. But see, look, the free will that I chose to get into. You're saying like when you're in heaven, can you do sin? No.
Okay, so you don't have free will.
have that
No, just to
moral-
be clear,
you
he is
won't have
risen.
moral agency. No, you'll have
Okay,
the
no,
free
he is
choice
risen.
to
Hold
do
on, I
things.
just want to make it clear. You're saying that there's
Yes.
no free will in heaven.
And okay, you're talking about moral agency. You don't need moral
No,
agency.
no, no, no.
in
I
heaven.
asked you. No, okay.
But
He
you
is
have the free
risen
choice
earlier.
to.
He is risen. Come on, I'm just trying to make you be honest. Earlier, I asked you. I didn't say moral agency. I said, in order to have free will, simplicator, must you have the capacity to do wrong? And you said
Yes.
yes. Okay, now you're saying that in heaven we do not have the capacity to do wrong. So we do not have free will according to your own definition, right?
No,
At least
you're
not in
missing
heaven.
it.
Not in heaven.
You're missing it. So
Missing.
I
okay.
kind of feel that way.
It's
Yeah.
a permanent choice now. It's saying, look, I want to enter into
And we can undo the
where
choice,
there is
right?
where there is no evil.
But you
where
can't undo the choice,
You
that
right?
can
choice
unconsent.
that
He's
you
not
can't
he's
get
not
right.
cooked. Like you guys aren't addressing. Okay, I have a question for the theist. What did were the angels in heaven when they rebelled? When a third of the angels rebelled, were
Had a
they in
choice.
heaven? So
Yes.
in order for them to rebel, doesn't that mean that they had to have a choice?
Right?
Yeah, no, but he's risen saying we don't have that, right? To
Yeah,
do
that's
good.
bro, what you don't understand is there is a new heaven and a new earth
Yeah,
where
yeah,
sin
I
is
do.
not going to be
Okay.
allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. In
That's
that new
already
heaven,
right.
go
Look,
ahead.
Yeah,
all I
see,
got.
if he is risen, all I'm saying is, like, I'm just going to land this plane. I might have to leave here in a second, right? Is that, look, if it is true that we do not have free will in heaven, right?
Yo, the
And
new
that,
heaven.
yeah, and the new heaven or whatever, right? We have this new world that we're going to be able to enter, and we're not going to have the capacity to rebel, right? It seems to me like adding this trial period in order to get there is erroneous. God is all powerful and all good, and He wants the best for all His subjects, right? The best outcome for all subjects is to simply be at the end, at the finish line already, right? Simply just exist without the
Yeah.
capacity to do evil. Hold on, if that's his end goal, right? Because if his end goal is to have the best
You're
outcome for all
missing
subjects,
consent.
hold on. Consent does not.
What?
If consent mattered, right? I would
Consent
have
is
had.
love.
Well, no, He is risen. Do I have to consent to live? Do I have to consent
You
to
have
be
to
put?
consent to love.
No,
to be
He is
loved.
risen. Okay, look, I'm asking you something. Do I have to consent to exist?
when I was born, before I was born, did I have to say, okay, I consent to my
That's
existence?
something that we don't know, honestly.
No, the only way, can you consent to something you don't remember?
What are you talking? Look, just because
If
you
you're, no,
wrote
I'm saying
down,
he's
no,
risen.
listen,
Can you consent to
listen,
something
just
you don't
because
remember?
just because you signed a contract and said yes, I want to allow this person to do X, Y, and Z, and then maybe you get into an accident that doesn't, and you don't remember signing no contracts, that doesn't invalidate the contract. All I'm saying is we do not know what the reality
You think you
was
consented
in
to
order
this
for
This is
us
prior?
to.
but this is just an argument.
There's nothing in the Bible that
He's
says
saying
that
that you
yes, you
don't
consented
know.
or didn't.
Wait.
That's
Yeah.
agnostic.
I
to
know,
that.
but okay, you're remaining agnostic, but you're saying
Now,
in principle,
what I would be
in
leaning
principle, the
towards,
reason God doesn't do this thing is because he wants us to consent. But yet we
right?
don't consent in the first place. I didn't consent to be, like, let's say Christian theism is true. I did not consent to be brought into this world where it's
Nobody
almost,
did.
no, I didn't consent to being in this world because I know myself and I know I didn't consent. You can't argue
You
from
don't know
ignorance.
that.
No,
You don't
he's
know
risen.
this.
He's
This is
risen.
so.
You can't argue.
He's
You
trying
can
to fight.
know. Yo, can you have access to the things you don't know?
You have access to the,
You
well,
think we
I
consented to
already
being
gave you
born?
I gave you an analogy where something can happen that can erase that memory
Yeah.
of you doing something or not.
Wait, you think
So
we
I think that
he's
consented to
risen
being
everybody that
born?
is here,
in
I
that
believe
scenario.
that everyone that is here
Consented?
enjoys their life and chooses to live versus not to live. So that shows
That's
to
not
me
what I'm
that you
That's
have
not what
That's
I'm
a
not,
asking.
no,
Mr.
wait.
I
listen to
don't
what
even know
I'm
what's
saying.
happening, bro. This is
No,
rough.
I'm
Listen to what I'm
asking.
That's not what
saying.
I'm asking.
Now that
I'm
you
telling
are,
you.
Okay, so there's wait, I don't understand the confusion. So Iso's asking, can you consent to conception? And he is risen as saying we don't know.
right.
Like, and there's no evidence to support whether or not there was like a contract or not.
Yeah,
Yes or
the
Yeah,
no?
no,
answer
I'm
is
saying.
simple. You
But I
can't
No,
would
I'm
say
consent.
there is
So
evidence
he's risen.
that
So
you want
like,
to
okay,
live
he's
versus
risen.
not
He's
live.
risen. Hold
Hold
on.
on,
I'm
hold
gonna,
on,
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
ask you a
There.
question. I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, right? If like the choices are to exist or to not exist, is that a forceful like dichotomy, right? If your like choices are either to sign this contract or to not exist at all, right? Is that consensual?
Yeah, watch what I'm telling you.
Yeah, you have a
The
choice.
fact that you are
No,
living
okay,
right
yeah.
now and you choose life every single day,
He's
right?
risen. I
No,
feel like
no.
Nobody,
he's
That's
risen. Are
not
you? Wait, I
evidence.
just
That's
want to
not
ask. He's
evidence
risen.
supporting.
bro,
Wait,
I
that's
listen
gotta
not.
to
leave
what I'm
here.
saying.
I
Listen
That's
to
gotta,
not.
what I'm
hold
saying
on. I
very
just gotta ask you
carefully.
something. I really find it
No,
funny.
because
No.
you already gave what you had to say. Now I'm
Listen,
going to say what I
you're
have to
asking a
say.
different,
And no,
answering a different
Bobby, it
question.
You're
doesn't.
answering a
No.
different
To be
question.
You're not
fair,
listening.
let him respond, and then Iso, you could ask him his other question.
Appreciate it. Every single day, everything that we see that lives has a desire to keep on living, right? There is something about life that we find valuable and either enjoyable, or we find some kind of teleos in doing. Find some kind of teleos in that existence is good. So there, if God has foreknowledge, right, and He knows that we would rather choose to exist than not to exist, then yes, we could have consented to that in a retroactive or an all-knowing in God's omniscience way. That yes, we would rather be here than not be here.
No, I'm asking you. If your two options, like, would you say that? This is gonna be a little extreme of a hypothetical, right? But I have to do it, right? Reductio ad absurdum and shit, right? So
Oh
again,
no.
let's say that there's a woman, right, that either has the ability to get raped or to die, right? Those are the two dichotomies that she has. Would you say that if she chooses not to die and get raped, that she consented to that?
Yeah, that's what's called a false dilemma.
That's not a false. She can either. No, I'm saying it's just
Yeah,
stipulated.
because you're
No,
just
hold on. He is risen.
hypothesizing two
He is
things.
risen. Look, you can say it's
It's not
disanalogous,
the.
but you can't say it's a false dilemma. It's just stipulated within the hypothetical that it is a dilemma. You can
But why
argue
is
that's
that the
not
only?
analogous. You can
Why
argue
is
that's
that
not
the only two
analogous.
choices? Like we're
Hmm?
talking about existence or not existing, which is a true dichotomy. You're talking about a choice between two
I'm
moral
saying it's
propositions.
stipulated within the hypothetical that your choice is either to die, which is
I
to
don't.
cease
I don't like
existing.
the hypothetical.
Well, you don't
So
have to like it. You
okay,
don't have to
wait,
like it. You just have to answer it.
Oh my
to
gosh, this is
answer
brain
what
rot.
Iso said directly, me, I would choose to unalive. But if
Fair
the
point.
person
Yeah.
chose to be raped rather than unalive, they still made a decision. It doesn't
So it's
make it not grape.
consensual?
No, it doesn't make it not grape. It's still grape.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
so
I'm
it's
saying.
not
You're like
consensual,
forcing
right?
I don't know what the point of
forcing
saying that was when you recognize that's not consensual.
Yeah, it's not consensual. Of course, they make a decision, but it's not consensual. That's my point. If this dichotomy before my existence, if this true dichotomy was either to not exist or to exist and be subject to like
You're
like infinite.
inserting. You're
Would do
injecting.
So
you think that's do
so
you
you
think
don't
that's
feel like
fair?
you don't feel like it's consensual. Like you could have decided whether or not you wanted to
Oh,
exist. So you feel like you wanted to exist. You didn't want to exist, but you still chose to exist. Like I'm trying to understand.
No, I'm saying that like he's talking about consent here. I'm saying like, is it consensual if my option is to either not to cease existing or the second option? I think obviously it's not consensual, right? Like we have like a like once you begin existing, you have this like this tendency to want to continue to exist, right? So obviously I'm gonna answer yes. It's like coercion.
Like, why is
I
it
do
Okay,
think
so
that's
justified
based
coercion?
on
unfair.
based on what he just said, right?
Yeah,
And
injustice.
then he went and asked us about the grape scenario. How did I answer incorrectly?
No, you answered correctly. It was funny because you were like, yeah, she made that decision, but I wasn't asking if she made a decision. Obviously, if she
Your
made a decision,
hypothetical was
I was
a
asking.
decision. What
I
are you
think
talking about?
to drive
Wait,
Ash's
what was
It's
point.
not
that?
it's not analogous,
Yeah,
right? Because grape is there's no sense in which you can consent to grape. Grape is defined as non-consensual. There, if you
Yeah,
consent to
I
it,
know. That's
so
fine.
it's
I just.
disanalogous in that way. So
It's
I don't even
Listen,
definitely
think
I'll
I don't
make it
analogous.
think
better. I'll
It's
make it
I don't
better.
think
definitely
Look,
it whole
analogous.
I don't think it
I'll
holds.
make it
And
more
Mark's going to
Make
say
it
that
analogous.
better.
without
I'll
any
make it more
Mark's going to say
analogous.
that without any
Mhm.
argument to support it.
I'll make
Go
it more
ahead,
analogous.
make it analogous.
I know. I'll make it more analogous. Okay, look. Either your options are to have schmex with this man you don't want to have schmex with, or die. Is that consensual? If you then go on to have schmex with this guy, obviously not. Therefore, it's grape. I understand. It's just analytically, it's a tautology that grape's unconsensual. My bad. But the analogy still stands. That's all I'm trying to say.
But actually, can't you even just make a slightly like more direct point in the sense? I think the original point where you could just say, well,
Would you rather
God,
exist or not exist? That's
no, no,
that's the point.
no, that's not, even a little bit prior to that. Like God could just has all this knowledge of all that exists before like actualizing any of them, right? So like to gonna get to to the final point, God could just instantiate those that I guess consent to be in heaven and doesn't and suffering and those that exist don't have to suffer. Like the suffering will be minimized at least because
Yeah, like
those
seeing
that
as like
suffer.
how this. I mean, are you a Calvinist? He is.
I'm not, even though I understand the point of view. I
To be
don't
honestly,
disagree with
like,
it.
to be honest, low key, Justin W might be a Calvinist still.
Justin is a Calvinist.
Yeah,
He
he
said
is.
it. He is.
Yeah,
He said it many
definitely.
times. He's open about it.
Justin is what I call Justin's what I call a good Calvinist.
Yeah.
Like
Wait,
he
what's a
actually-
bad Calvinist? Wait, what?
like a bad Calvinist is a person who's
There's some bad
divisive. Like they exclude people from the
Oh,
elect.
Like Jehovah's Witnesses?
wait, hold on, wait. That is Calvinism
They're
essentially.
exclusionary. That's the word, exclusionary. That's the
Wait,
You can't be a Calvinist without excluding people
Yeah,
from
you
heaven.
can.
you literally,
No,
yeah,
you
like,
can't. You
like,
literally
Calvinism is
yeah,
literally that like some people are destined to make it into heaven and some people are not part of the elect. So they won't make it
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it
God-
doesn't mean you quantify. It doesn't mean you quantify it over people
Right.
who
No, what-
is elect and who isn't.
What Justin
I get what you're saying. Like you're saying like there's no way for us to know. So like why are we quantifying or saying who is and who's not?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just like a select group.
Well, Justin, when I had this conversation with you, what I understood you to say the people when God makes people that go to hell. I understood you to say that God makes people that go to hell, but we're also choosing to want to go to hell.
Well,
There you go.
it's more of the order in which salvation happens. It's that your value is created, right? As a human, God loves you before ever knowing that whether you sin or not, and then saves some after the fall, right? So it's just an ordering of acts is what Calvinism is saying. So election
Which
happens,
is anti-biblical, by the way.
meaning like everyone
Because
is
God knows
everyone's
everything you're
fallen.
going to do before you do it, according to the
Well,
Bible.
there would be an ordering for things. Like God would not.
Yeah,
there would
and
be-
the
there
first
would be
order
a-
of that
there would
is
be a
that God
sequential
knows
ordering of
everything you're
things.
going to do and numbered every hair on your head before you were born, according to the Bible.
Yeah, all this would happen before you're
Yeah.
born. That's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
That's irrelevant. Either way,
Yeah,
it's still an
so
ordering. Even
no
before
free
you're
will
born.
under Calvinism, people destined to hell, not all
No, that's a
living.
strong man.
Got it.
That's a strong. That's a strong.
But in this, I'm saying like to Isol's, I think
So
original point.
Justin, do you think that someone born in like 100 BC is destined to hell?
I don't know. You have to give me more. Are they?
Uh,
Or do they choose? Do they
I
choose to
grew
believe
up
in
in
Jesus?
Pompeii. I
Did
grew up in
they
Pompeii in
choose to hope in
100
Jesus?
100 BC. Am I
Uh huh.
destined for hell?
Do they choose? Did they choose to hope in the salvation of God?
Uh, well, I
Not
like how
really.
you reworded that, right?
No,
Would
it's
I
just a
even have
question. It's a
knowledge of
question.
it?
I didn't reword anything. I'm
Would
asking a
I,
question.
what knowledge of God would I
I
have
just
based
need
on
more.
my
I need more
geographic
context. I
and
can't. If you don't
so
have
I
any more
was born in
context, then
Pompeii.
I'll just stay
I was
agnostic
born in
on the question.
Pompeii. I was born in Pompeii in 100 BC, and I worship the old Roman gods because that's the culture I was exposed to. Am I destined to hell or not?
You're going to hell. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you're
Was I
destined as
destined
well.
to hell by God?
Oh, destined. You're predestined. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
weird.
free in my destiny to be born in a geographical location and
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, he's
So you know,
he's predestined.
Yeah.
I was free in that
No, he's
decision.
predestined.
Is
Predestined.
yeah,
Wait,
because
so just to be
so
clear,
you understand that predeterminism is not the same thing as determinism, right?
There's free
Uh,
determinism.
No, he said
Predetermined.
predetermined.
I don't think you know what
Predeterminism and determinism.
determinism or free will is, to
No,
be
no.
honest with you.
Justin said
Okay. I mean, if
predetermined.
all you're
Wait,
doing is incredulity, like I'm not here to be your punching bag.
Well,
You could just
incredulous.
you could
I
just
just
you could
think
just
you're
move
worthy of
on
being
from
a
somebody to
punching
someone else,
bag.
bro.
No,
I
Mark.
don't
wait,
like.
so
I don't care to change your mind. You don't matter
Mark,
to me. I don't know who you think you are.
Mark, I
Oh,
think.
so
I just think
listen.
you're an idiot.
Okay, well,
Oh, wow.
congratulations.
Relax.
Everyone's got opinions. Why should I
Just
care?
relax,
No,
bro.
Dad,
Mark.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I
care
also
about
have
yours.
empirical evidence based on the things that you say to support my
Hey,
thesis.
listen.
Oh,
it's all
wow.
good. It's
Why
all good,
again?
guys.
Why
Like,
should I care about you? Some
You
asshole on the
shouldn't.
internet.
I'm just
Wait,
up here
I
to be
Okay, well
want to
then,
ask a
believe.
can we
question.
get back to some substance then?
Holy
It's like
Yeah,
you're
cow.
let's
derailing the
get
whole
back to the
conversation.
substance. So if I was born in
Wait,
100
wait,
BC, if I was born in a
wait. Why is Mark coming in hot like that? What happened?
Because
An ET
he's
wanted to
not
speak a long
Because he
time
has
ago,
something
by the
wrong
way.
with him, bro. It's
I
pretty
an
have
obvious.
ad
But
hominem
some
is
old.
because you're wrong and you're
someone mute
stupid.
this
I'm
guy.
just saying Justin's
Let ET
wrong.
go.
You got a crush on me,
all
bro.
right. So like,
Why has
so
no one
guys,
muted
like,
this guy
Oh,
yet?
wow.
okay,
What's
so there's
happening?
that.
We were having great discussions. I mean, this is just ad hominem stuff.
Wait.
Yeah, this guy.
It's
Yeah,
There's
not.
something
and
wrong
I
with
don't
him.
Again,
understand what
again, an
triggered
ad
that.
hominem is you're wrong
Can someone mute
because
this
you're
guy?
stupid.
He's so emotional.
I might have been. Wait,
I
Mark.
don't know what's
Mark.
All right,
wrong.
guys, like I know that there's like bad blood behind the scenes, but like clearly we misunderstood what Justin was saying, and like we're trying to steelman his position.
No, I
Okay,
don't.
let's just get down to
Oh,
that.
I think.
wait, Justin, you know him?
I don't
I
know.
have no bad blood. I could not care less about him. He just has a
Oh.
thing about me. I don't know.
No, I
People
think.
just don't like.
Okay, I didn't know
So
that.
But
Why
you
do
know,
you do that? Why
admittedly,
do you guys come up on
admittedly,
panels where you don't like someone and then like I don't get it?
I mean, admittedly, like
He's back.
Justin W has a tendency to not be kind sometimes to individuals, but it'd be
Wait, wait, Mark. I might misunderstood because I think Justin did answer your question because he said, yeah, God. He said,
I don't even know why you
God
guys are still
does
entertaining him.
predetermine. God did predetermine these people to go to hell.
I was trying to bring up J-Rob. I don't know which one.
Mark, I misunderstood, but didn't Justin answer that question when he said, yeah, God predetermined those people to go to hell? Wasn't that him answering that question?
Yeah, so free will is free will would be a thesis on like on actual, things that happen regarding like the future, like possible futures, right? And I don't hold to free will. I hold like libertarian free will. I hold to compatibilism. Calvinism is traditionally and squarely positioned as a compatibilist view.
Like Frankfurt
Now,
cases.
predeterminism is not a position of determinism, right? So it's not a contradiction to be a Calvinist and be a compatibilist. Those are two different positions, two different theses. So
I mean, you can wait. The compatibilism, anyways, is saying that determinism could be true, anyways, and still free will could still exist. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, but not under Calvinism, because
yeah, no, it is. Most Calvinists are compatibilists, Bobby. Every
I
Calvinist.
know most Calvinists, but I'm not. Oh, yeah, because I guess determinism, predeterminism. Even if
Yeah,
God is
'cause
predeterminism,
what most compatibilists are trying to say is that, like, yeah, maybe like all our desires are like determined, right? Either way, though, we have like higher order, lower order desires.
even if
We
God
can,
was to
like,
predetermine it, it's still compare. Yeah, right.
yeah, but we can like sort of choose or align our desires, or like choose which desires to actualize in like a little space. We have a little room where we can like organize our thoughts, I guess.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I think my point is that that original point before you start talking about consent was like, in this view, God has this knowledge prior to actualizing all tenants, right? Of all these agents, and you can just create those agents, in heaven, I guess, that want to consent to having their free will stripped off of them. I guess those
Yeah, why
agents,
did, yeah, that's true.
and
Why
then
didn't you
just
practice?
minimize harm and suffering that way. Something like that.
Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
I think the entire discussion about the consent of going to heaven. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like this really revolves around the subject of free will and ultimately the definition of that. And I'd like to make a distinction here in saying that, okay, in the reality, right, that we live in, we can say, okay, we have a choice between right and wrong, but ultimately those choices, right, uh, are based on a consequence based reality where, sure, let me give an analogy, right? Like, I could choose from now on just not to eat anything. I have the choice to say, okay, you know what? I just don't want to eat. I don't like the taste of food, and I refuse to eat for the rest of my life. Now, I have the free will, you could say, to make that choice, but ultimately, that choice is not free of consequences of that choice, which ultimately I'll pass away in a month or so. So when talking about the consent to go to heaven, I can see ISO's point that ultimately the choice at hand really isn't a choice because the alternative would be much more dire, right? You would spend eternity in suffering and punishment. So you're left with this dichotomy of saying, okay, yeah, I have the free will to choose between heaven or hell, but is that really a choice? That's where I understand ISO's point of view. But that being said, um, the fact that God presents us with that choice, right? I don't think it's necessarily, you can just necessarily assume that he's doing that with some sort of ineptitude or hidden agenda. And before I go forward, I've wanted to ask a question to the atheist panel that I really want clarification on, and it's this: it's that what exactly is being implied that God allows evil? What is it ultimately that's being implied? Are you saying that he is evil, or are you saying that he is inept, or he does not exist? Which one is it, or is it a combination of those?
It's an internal critique. The problem of evil is not an appeal to emotion. It's an internal critique.
Okay, Mark, hold on. I don't. So I'm not really. At least earlier, I wasn't discussing it in like an LPO.
It's actually not an internal critique.
Like, oh my God,
It only applies to a God
that's
that
the question.
fits
Was
your
ISO not
definition
speaking?
of all good.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought ISO was like in the middle of the sentence.
Roy,
You said
I
what?
was running the EPE, so all we're really trying to say, right? I'm not running like a logical problem. That's a lot harder threshold, right? So we're just saying, look, we're looking at God's attributes, right? All powerful plus all good, right? It's a lot less expected that would equal evil things happening. Does that make sense? So we're just saying
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yeah. So all we're saying is that, like, the same way, like, if you walk into a house and there's blood everywhere and stuff, like, there's just, it seems like a murder has gone on. It's more likely that a murder has gone on than, someone slipped and cut their hand and then, like, put their fingerprints everywhere. That's less likely. It's just not expected, right? That's the thing that's happening. So it's just saying that it's just less probable that evil things would occur if the Christian God existed. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't see how that's an internal critique because the Christian God reveals
J-Rob, that was
that.
Mark. That was Mark, not me, dog. I didn't say that.
It is an internal critique, and ISO just set it up as an
ISO,
internal critique. It's less expected based
both
on
of
the
you guys
position.
just said, ISO, even you just said that it's less likely that the Christian God exists. So that means it's an internal critique, like, by nature,
No,
because it's
this is just
critiquing
a
the Christian
probability.
God.
Just two explanations, right? Which one's more probable given what we see? And so I'm just saying that like, this evidence decreases the probability of one because it's
That's
not.
not.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see how that's the
That's not the
case.
argument you made. It's an
The
internal
Christian
critique.
if the
Hang
Christian
on,
God
J. Rob.
posits that
Hold on,
he
Jared's talking.
allows
Let him.
people to make this choice between good and evil. So how would it be less likely that the Christian God exists if we see people choosing evil.
J-Rob, does the Christian God have the capacity to instantiate a world in which this dichotomy isn't a thing?
Yeah, of course.
Then it's less likely for this dichotomy to be a thing if he's all loving and all powerful, as well as
Well, again, that's your
And that's an internal critique.
that's your definitions of all loving.
It's not okay. Look, listen. Yeah, I get it. It's using their like internal commitments, right? But it's not like an LPOE. It's just a probability. It's such an IBE, an abductive case. That's all I'm making.
Based on the commitments
I still
of the
don't
theist.
see it.
It's an internal critique.
I still don't see
that
it.
God is omnibenevolent, omnipotent, right, or maximally benevolent and maximally potent, right? It would be less expected to see like evolution through natural selection versus.
But again, these are positing your These are your definitions.
No, I'm
like,
using your definition.
I can understand. I can understand if you're just saying like, just a theist, like simplicator, and you're saying a, you know,
if you have idiosyncratic all good and all powerful, that's fine.
Like your understanding.
J-Rob, look again. If you have idiosyncratic definitions of these two words and they don't mean what we're saying, that's fine. But right now, the conversation's somewhere else.
It's not an idiosyncratic, right? If I believe that God is maximally good, then I believe that He's gonna create a world in which, you know, the most amount of goods can be exemplified.
Okay, so
and if certain goods can only exist,
this is great.
Oh my
So
God!
God is
Oh my God!
maximally
Why
good.
can I? Oh wait, I forgot. I got the mute button. Oh my God!
I've been up here for like an hour and said three
okay,
things.
now you're getting muted now, right? So,
Oh my God.
if I believe that a maximally good God, He would bring about a world where you know, the max amount of goods can be exemplified, and then certain goods can only exist if, you know, people choose evil, like forgiveness.
I know.
So
then evil
I don't
is
see
good
how
then.
this, I don't see how I don't see how this would be incompatible.
Yeah, then evil is
with
just
the
good.
Christian
That's
God.
the best. That's the best. That is the best response to this, right? I'm not gonna lie, but I will say, I know a counter argument that makes it so like you're like an epistemic nihilist, but I just can't remember how to levy it. But right now, that's good apologetics. That is like the way Thomas usually answers this question is that like, oh well, we look at virtues, right? Because a lot of them are like virtue ethicists, things of that nature, right?